Hey everybody, Kevin Meredith here from Fourth Sector Innovations. This week's episode is really focused on trying to provide a little bit of context on the reality of the program, some of the lessons learned, some of those things that we can explore more deeply in the future, some of those things that didn't go well, and some of those things that really had a major impact, a very positive contribution to the users of the gita platform. And this applied for private individuals and enterprises. It was with government agencies and activities, and that kind of full spectrum of uses throughout the community, I think is really, it says a lot about the gita platform, the versatility, and maybe, while not perfect in all scenarios, gave some perspective on the limitations also. And when gita is in its kind of ideal environment, or even just an acceptable environment, the aisleways are not too narrow, there's not too many obstructions. But in the course of pedestrian life, using the robot throughout the downtown area, throughout the civic complex, even within certain office environments, it was amazing to see how many smiles and questions that came from using the robot. When we were out using the robot in the field, how much we heard comments, either people, I don't know how many times we heard something to the effect of, whoa, what is that? What is that thing? A lot of times if a young person was using the robot, they'd be like, oh, what's that kid doing with a robot? Or what's that thing following the kid around? So it definitely caused people to take notice and try and understand what it was that they were seeing. It's not every day that you see a robot coming at you. People looking over their shoulder, stopping to pull out their cell phones, all the things that they want to do to kind of capture what this unique moment was that they saw. Probably the number one comment from folks that we talked with here in Southern California in particular was, can it go on the beach? Can it carry my stuff to a beach or a bonfire? And unfortunately, the answer for the foreseeable future is no, it will not be able to do that. There's a lot of issues with sand as a human being, right? Maybe you can empathize with it. Sand gets in places that you don't want sand. Well, the same thing happens for the robot. There's a lot of places we don't want sand, and right now the platform isn't designed for it to be used on the beach, maybe in the future. Can I put my kids in it? Can I put my dog or my pet in it? Unfortunately, the answer was pretty much the same in all of those scenarios, that it's not recommended, you shouldn't do that. Would be a completely different set of liabilities and design constraints that the company would have to pursue in order to really evaluate that in a serious way. Other common themes of feedback were golf. I could use this instead of a golf cart. And they would always bring up some of these other platforms that already exist for technology on the golf course. So there may be an interesting thing to explore there. Some other feedback is if it could actually be used as a seat. So if you're taking, let's say, kids to a sporting event, you're going out to the field, you got all their gear and everything, it can be a seat with all that gear, so you don't have to sit on the ground or lug additional equipment and chairs and things like that.
Rack around this area for additional storage.
What types of stuff would you put on there?
Just things that were awkward in size that didn't fit directly inside here.
This was discussed and evaluated to some degree throughout the pilot. At this point, it was just not built into the program to evaluate that. But there's a really practical use case that doesn't change the dynamics of the vehicle a whole lot, and that would be going to a community beach or pool facility. So there is a really interesting use that roof racks could support without changing the balance of the vehicle and the dynamics of the vehicle a whole lot. And that would be to have this roof rack that can hold towels and things that are lightweight but would take up a considerable amount of volume in the cargo hold itself. So then the cargo hold can be used to hold the beverages, maybe the food for a picnic if you're spending a day going out to the park. Other feedback that we had is I wish it could have the ability to automatically go home. You know, we've discussed this in previous episodes, but the idea that the robot itself would be able to function some level of autonomous operations without a human handler is not something that Piaggio Fast Forward is pursuing at this time. Having it be an extension of the human is core to their beliefs and their kind of design principles for the products and services that they offer. Having the robot go backwards has been talked about before with some of the users of the platform. At this point, because it has that zero degree turning radius, and it can pivot basically on those two wheels, the need for it to go backward is diminished a little bit. And I think that's just about everything, all the major things that we had as far as feedback goes. There's an endless opportunity for feedback in any product or service. So these are all just considerations to be made based on real conversations that we've had with people out in the field. Let us know what you think some of your ideas to enhance your experience or the uses of gita. Be really great to hear. Thanks.